let's be real here for a minute. Crimson Desert is gonna be absolutely amazing. It's gonna be one of the best things to happen in gaming ever. From everything that we have seen to everything that we have heard, it looks just right. Everything that we have experienced so far is exactly the way that we would want it to be. But understandably, some people are not exactly sold. And, well, you may think that that's not exactly a reasonable position to have, but remember this. How many times have we got burned? Now, personally, I don't think Crimson Desert is going to disappoint. I think everything surrounding it is good enough at the bare minimum. But this channel honestly pretty much exists only because game developers lie to us, they burn us, they overpromise and underdeliver to huge amounts. And so it's reasonable that a lot of people are very cautious about Crimson Desert because it is offering us so much. And sometimes some concerns are even valid. A week ago, I actually found one thing that I did not like about Crimson Desert, and it was the fact because I have already seen this mechanic in other games. Because keep in mind, Crimson Desert is not actually something that does anything unique. It just does a lot of different things to a seemingly very good degree and a fun degree. But one of the things that I was very, very about when it came to Crimson Desert was the ability to learn boss moves and different kinds of abilities out in the wild and whatnot. Because I have already played different games, that have had these abilities. And it never worked out. It was always bad because it turned out, it always turned to the situation of, oh, I want this boss ability or this ability in general. Now I'm just gonna AFK, run in circles, and hope that the enemy does that ability so I can copy it. And that never was fun. Crimson Desert does the same, but turns out they fixed that. They will offer you the ability to just buy these abilities anyway, so you don't have to learn them from an encounter and be tedious like that if you don't want. Which is great. This is a fix to my problems. But you see, there can be legitimate issues that surround Crimson Desert. Now, granted, that was my only issue with Crimson Desert, but we have some new news, and well, it's pretty bad, honestly. It's the fact that it's gonna have Denuvo. Denuvo is a kernel-level anti-cheat system, which means all of your hentai folders are gonna be figured out. And I don't know about you, but have fun, FBI. There's literally more than 15,000 files there, so good luck. It's your funeral, little losers. But you're probably thinking, if you're a reasonable person like me, why the hell would a single-player game have Denuvo? Well, it's for the simple reason that they don't want piracy, and the simple reason that Crimson Desert is gonna have microtransactions. The developers assured us it's not gonna be, well, Pearl Abyss assured us that it's not gonna be at the start of the game, but after a time there's gonna be microtransactions. And this is probably just a precautionary thing, so people, don't cheat the microtransactions for free. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the deal, but the fact that it has Denuvo definitely does not seem good, because keep in mind, not only is Denuvo going to look through all your files, and I already have Microsoft Copilot doing that, and Riot Vanguard doing that, so, I mean, I don't need more competition at this fucking point, honestly, in my PC. But above everything, Denuvo makes your game load slower. Yes, by a lot, by the way. One of the reasons the Lost Ark had such a slow loading time was because of these anti-cheat systems. And people obviously feared that, and I think that's very understandable.
There's misconceptions in the industry about what piracy is, right? Piracy is the result of bad service on the part of game companies.
Ooh, that's a bingo!
What's up, Space Pirates? This is your Admiral, the obviously awesome Dr. Disaster. And with a game like Crimson Desert, which looks incredible in its trailers, I don't think there's much chance of any middle ground, as to how this game ends up being received. Either the game is going to blow everyone away and be a top contender for Game of the Year,
You love me. You really love me.
or the game is going to faceplant and be despised, leaving its studio with a bad reputation.
I'm ruined.
I honestly think a middle ground is easily possible here. Let's be real, the hype surrounding Crimson Desert is massive. So a lot of people would be disappointed if it wasn't that great. But even if it was at the worst case average, people would still forgive it because at the end of the day, just good enough game to play is not that bad. I mean, everyone wants it to be great and whatnot, but I think people misunderstand that just average games do pretty well. They really do pretty well. We never talk about average games also, we only talk about the best of the best or the worst of the worst. There's a reason for that, because average is just good enough.
I have nothing left.
The thing is, Crimson Desert is a game which promises everything. If you look at the gameplay videos, it is overwhelming. With all of the things that you can supposedly do, the game really looks as though it is.
I mean, you can do all of these things. I am not aware of a single thing that they have shown in Crimson Desert that you cannot do. Dragon riding, check. Whatever the fuck this is, check. Boss fights, check. A banking system, check. Everything, checkity, check.
Either going to nail it and end up being sort of like a fantasy version of Grand Theft Auto or something like that, or it is going to be a cluttered mess who struggles.
I don't think it's even close to being a mess like GTA.
From a lack of focus, and time will tell which one of those things it is.
Well, we're waiting.
Crimson Desert is now set to come out in less than a week, and despite the high hopes that I have for the game, there are a couple bits of news about it that are at least a little off-putting. First of all, this tweet here from Detective Seeds breaks it down. He wrote, Digital Foundry was not just sent a PS5 review code for Crimson Desert, they were sent a whole-ass PS5 Pro with Crimson Desert already downloaded onto the console. Was this done so they could not test the game on base PS5 too? LOL, I have never heard of this happening before.
I have plenty of times, in fact.
That's not good news. That's not good news at all.
Yeah, that really
Yeah, but theoretically this is true. That is not the best thing because that is obviously a very much minor, completely not real bribe.
does not bode well at all and makes it seem like Crimson Desert might actually run like shit. And on that topic, Crimson Desert has had a...
This seems very much impossible. If Crimson Desert doesn't run on potato at this point, I will be surprised. Now, granted, I am not a tech guy in the slightest. I have no idea how computers work. Black magic, if you ask me. I have no idea what is an RTX 720p 90, whatever the fuck that's supposed to be. I have no idea what's the difference between an Nvidia and GeForce. Are those the same thing? Whatever. Yeah, but as far as I can tell, everyone who has reviewed the game specs have said that, yeah, this is gonna be pretty okay.
Bunch of goodwill from people who have been mystified by all the videos that we have seen of the gameplay showing that you can do all kinds of things in it, but it was just announced about a week before the game releases that Crimson Desert has added DRM Denuvo likely rendering. All of the time that the developer spent polishing the game and optimizing it, making it run smoothly, they made all of that fairly irrelevant because Denuvo is famous for making games run like shit on PC. Obviously, Crimson Desert is going to sell extremely well. It's been in the top 10 bestsellers on Steam for a while now, and will undoubtedly take the top spot soon. But if there is anything...
How many people do you think are going to play Crimson Desert? What's going to be the peak? 200k? 150k lowest, which I don't believe? 300k? 400k maybe? I mean, this has to be massive, right? But how massive is massive at this point?
that can really start to
Slay the Spire is at 500k, but granted, Crimson Desert is 70 buckaroni. So, I mean, I'm thinking 300, 250 to 400k. Okay, and if it reaches that, then it's 530 max. Which, again, kind of super hard to believe that.
derail a promising release like this, Denuvo is near the top of that list, which makes me want to ask the guys at Pearl Abyss who developed this game,
What? What are you thinking?
Good old Simpsons.
Alright, me hearties, for anyone who is not familiar, DRM Denuvo is an anti-piracy software which a lot of PC gamers despise because there is significant evidence that it causes games to run like shit. That is especially bad for a game with the size and scope of Crimson Desert, but which was bragging about all of the optimization that they had done. That was a big selling point. They were talking about how smoothly this thing was going to run. But take a look at this article here from Push Square, which talks about another problem that has people pretty annoyed at the game. It says here, if you're planning to go physical with upcoming RPG Crimson Desert, then keep in mind you'll need to connect to the internet to fully install the game. With wild...
Yeah? I don't think this is a real complaint, honestly. Like, let's be real. This has been our life for the past decade. Maybe two, honestly, almost at this point. 1.5 decades, right? That this has been how things have functioned forever. And again, this thing is gonna have microtransactions, so obviously the internet is a must-have. So there you go.
copies beginning to
I would love to have it differently, but everyone expected you to need to have the internet for this. And I understand. I understand obviously that of wanting a single player game to be played offline is a great thing, and yeah, I want it also, would be nice. But what are the chances? They're not forced to do this, and the amount of people who are truly upset by this is not a lot, honestly. But it shouldn't be.
circulate ahead of the release's PS5 launch, we can now confirm that the game won't run off its Blu-ray disc. You'll need to connect to the internet and download the game's Day 1 patch to play. It seems the reason for this is quite simple. The full game is not on the disc. We're making an educated guess here, but images of the install process show about 76 gigabytes being copied across. We know from the specs that the full game will occupy about 150 gigabytes on PC at least, so it's probably safe to assume, even with compression, the PS5 version will be roughly similar in size, and Pearl Abyss has opted not to ship 2 Blu-rays here. It seems from today's Digital Foundry report that the Day 1 patch will likely be meaty, so isn't that wonderful? A Day 1 patch is required for the game, potentially taking up the better part of 100 gigs. But as someone who is planning to play this on PC, here's the really annoying news for me, which has me thinking that maybe I should cancel my pre-order and take a wait-and-see approach. This article here is from Game Rant. It reads, just 1 week before its release, developer Pearl Abyss has quietly added Denuvo DRM, a controversial anti-tampering technology, to the PC version of Crimson Desert. Gamers around the world have been eagerly awaiting the launch of Crimson Desert, which officially launches for PS5, Xbox, and PC on March 19th, but the addition of Denuvo DRM has many PC users concerned about possible performance issues that could arise, especially on older hardware. It may not be out yet, but Crimson Desert already looks to be a strong contender for Game of the Year. What initially started out as a prequel to Pearl Abyss's 2015 MMO Black Desert Online would eventually become a standalone action-adventure game with tons of RPG elements, a new setting, and plenty of story-driven content for players to sink their teeth into.
No, it's technically not a new setting.
Crimson
But
Desert
that's a minor thing.
also boasts an ambitiously large open world which is said to be larger than Red Dead 2 and twice the size of Skyrim, making it one of the most anticipated titles of the year. The hype around Pearl Abyss's next title is monumental, with Crimson Desert already surpassing 2 million wish lists in the lead up to its launch. However,
Now, if we go by 1348 X Vato numbers, that means they got listen, they if you did not know, they had 250k wish lists and they peaked out at 415 players or something. So if we go by X Vato numbers, Crimson Desert is gonna have, how much is that? 8 times more? Yeah, 8 times more. 3,200, no, 300, 3,350-ish players. If we go by those numbers. Jesus Christ. Now, obviously, I'm joking, but it is funny. 250k wish lists, 400 players.
PC users have been left disappointed after discovering that the title is incorporating Denuvo, a controversial type of anti-tampering software. Although the game's Steam page has been live for many months now, Pearl Abyss has only just updated the game's information section with details of Denuvo.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously, this is a scummy move. This is a scummy move for sure, but this is not a deal breaker. It's a scummy move because they know people hate fucking Denuvo. But then again, they want to sell those microtransactions to you. Again, single player game, we knew that, well, I expected at least microtransactions. At which point it actually got confirmed that they're going to have microtransactions, don't remember. But it was obvious, okay? You don't make Black Desert and live your life like a king from microtransactions and make your next game and don't have microtransactions, even if it's a single player game. Okay? Doesn't happen in the modern day, right?
DRM 1 week before it is set to be released, first spotted by The Gamer. As expected, this has drawn criticism from the community, with many now cautious about how Crimson Desert will perform on PC.
I think it's still gonna perform well. Because they can't be such idiots that they're like, okay, this game is running well, we optimized it, and now we're launching Denuvo on it. And now optimization goes out the fucking ass. And everyone's mad. There's no way. This optimization must have included Denuvo, because it's not like they decided that Denuvo is gonna actually be dead like 1 week before launch. It was a decision that they probably already had, because I'm assuming Crimson Desert has Denuvo? I'm not sure, but they probably have a anti-cheat. Let me Google that real quick. Does Black Desert Online have Denuvo? Oh, look at that. Someone actually already asked this question. As far as I know, this game won't have Denuvo. What the Crimson Desert, just weeks before launch. Crimson Desert, dude, will Crimson Desert have Denuvo? Is Black Online shutting down? No, I can't actually find it. Everything is just about Crimson Desert having Denuvo. Lamau. Okay. Yes, we can't actually find that out easily.
This was the nail in the coffin for PC players, one user said, while another responded with, very, very bad decision. Yeah, the fact that they...
It is a very bad decision, let's be real. It's undefensible in this case. So, yeah. Dr. Disaster, actually, opinion valid. Well, I still think the game is going to be good. I still think it's gonna be run good. Maybe it's not gonna run on potatoes any longer, but honestly, we just have to wait and see. In any case, Dr. Disaster 10 out of 10. Bye.